Hello, and welcome to another video from Alberta Bushcrafter. This is a brief one. You may have seen my video on compression sacks. And this is one. This is a -6 Infinity Sports Ponderosa 380. Sort of shoulder season, early winter bag. -6. And yeah, it's not good for extreme cold weather, but it's a nice bag. But you can see it's actually in its compression sack. And you've seen a video on these before, hopefully, because I've done one. Compression sacks are wonderful. So here's the thing though. When it's time to put the gear away for the season, this is where some people run into problems. Because this is more so with synthetic bags than down, but it's all about something we call loft. With synthetic bags, you've got a synthetic polyester fill or something in there, and it doesn't like to stay compressed for long periods of time. So if it stays compressed for a very long period of time, it'll actually lose its loft. So it won't puff up the way it should. Down bags, less so. Now, there are certain advantages to down bags. For one thing, they're lighter. Disadvantages are, of course, they get wet, they stay wet, they don't dry out too well. And they're also very expensive. But down bags are fabulous. I had one for quite a while till I retired it. They're wonderful. They also have less of a problem with over compression, but this technique I'm going to show you will work with down bags as well. Anyways, if you store your sleeping bag in the compression sack like this, yeah, it's not going to be very happy come time you want to open it up again. It may not loft up. And no matter how thick your sleeping pad is, or how big a raised bed or bow bed you build. Oh, and by the way, raised beds and bow beds made out of wood, the leave no trace folks really frown against them. I am going to say if you are on your own property or someone else's property with permission, not a problem. The other thing, if it's a survival situation, don't lose your life staying true to leave no trace principles, because if it is a life and death situation, it's not going to matter. I know some folks who actually consider themselves sort of the leave no trace police, and I've actually heard of, rather, a friend of mine who, these folks practically ruined their trip. They ran across these guys on a certain trail, and they wouldn't shut up about it, and they just beeped off and complained and whatever, and they were not happy people. So it's actually principle number 7 of leave no trace is be courteous to other campers. I would have to say that it kind of applies. Don't shove leave no trace down people's throats. Be humble about it and stay true to leave no trace principles if that's your way, but don't beat other people over the head with it, because that's the worst way to convert someone. Anyways, back to the compression sack. You can see I have now undone all of the, well, compression straps. And here we go. The bag is lofting more up to, that's twice the size of what it was. It's lofting up to its full size. Now normally what a lot of people would do, they'd leave it like this. That's not so good. It's still fairly compressed. So we'll see the next step here, what it's like if you put it back in its original storage sack. And how good is that? So it'll just be a moment. Okay, so we've taken it out of the compression sack, which is right here. I will fold that up later. And here it is in its regular storage sack. What I've noticed, which is very interesting, is, at least for this model of bag, the storage sack is slightly smaller than the fully extended compression sack. So in the storage sack, it is now, the bag is still compressed, and you still have a problem with it possibly losing its loft. So what do? You go to one of the great stores like REI or other outdoor stores. I got this from Mountain Equipment Co-op, and you get yourself, look at the size of this. See, there's the name. Great store, really great store. But you get yourself one of these huge storage bags. It's about 5 US, maybe 7 Canadian. What you do is actually you would stuff the bag. You never store a sleeping bag rolled either unless the manufacturer's directions say you can do it. That's another no-no, because that keeps it compressed. So you'd actually stuff it into a bag like this. And then you'd actually hang it up. So this is a cotton bag. Nothing at all special about it. Sorry, it's winter, so humidity up here in northern Alberta is terrible. Very dry. So this is a cotton bag. Fairly good cotton. It's actually fairly heavy. Of course, it's got the manufacturer's logo on it. These are about $7 Canadian from Mountain Equipment Co-op. And you put this bag into this bag, which is about 2.5, 3 times the size. That'll allow the bag to breathe. It'll allow it to loft right up, and it won't compress it. And your problem with overcompressed insulation is gone. I will often throw the stuff sack and the storage sack into the top of this just to keep them together as well. And it won't fold them up. Just leave them loose. So what else can you use this for? You can use this for summer weight bags. It's even nicer. The other thing that they suggest, and I'll be getting a couple more of these, is to use this for your tent. The main thing is we're not talking about tents. We're talking about an essential piece of gear here, another essential piece of gear, which is your sleeping bag. So let's see what this looks like when it's done. Alright, so I am halfway through putting it into the large bag. And this is big enough that it almost falls into the bag. Now, if you have a draft collar or something like that, like I do on this one, what you want to do is make sure, don't unzip the zippers, leave it zipped. And don't undo any Velcro for sure. But if the draft collar, like on this one, was fairly tight, you just move the cord lock to the end. Make sure you open it up, because that can also put stress on the fabric. Not a lot of stress, but hey, what you are basically doing by putting in a bag like this is you are extending the life of your bag. Sleeping bags are not, good sleeping bags anyways, are not cheap. This one cost me $99 at, well, a place at the time was my favorite outdoor store. It was Totem Outdoor Outfitters. I got a really good deal on this. It was half price. That's $99 in, I think it was, 18 years ago. So, $1997. So that's a good deal. It is a -6 bag, so mild winter bag, nothing serious. Anyways, thing is, this bag is 18 years old, and the reason it is still functioning, couple little stitches have popped loose and so on, but the reason it's still functioning is because this is what I do. I put it in a bag like this in the off season, and I let it breathe. Now, moths don't really get in here or become a problem. They don't like synthetics anyways. But let's have a quick look. This is the bag. So this is about 2.5 times the size of the regular storage sack. You know what's funny is, it just occurred to me, this is a big cotton laundry bag. You can get those from other suppliers at probably a lot less than what this would cost. Although $7 is a pretty good deal. Just pick it up on, when you're picking up the rest of your gear. Now here's the last thing I like to do. I like to take a fairly thick hanger. See how this works. And I like to put the hanger in the top of the bag. The stuff sack and compression sack are already in there, by the way. And then I like to do it up. Get the cord lock. And there we go. we now have a hanger. You don't have to tie it around. I will. I'll probably wrap the cord around here a bit, but you don't really need to do that. I just do it to keep it out of the way if I do it at all. There we go. And I just put the cord loosely around the top, as you can see. And there's one big happy sleeping bag. This is how to make your very expensive or not so expensive gear last for a very, very long time. Now they also say you can use these with tents. I have read a couple dozen articles on tents in the last 6 months, and really I gotta say the jury's out on what to do. Some say fold the tent. You know, you can roll the tent up. And others say just stuff it into the stuff sack. Now there are proponents of both. Some say that rolling a tent too many times, or rolling a tent tightly, means you'll put lateral stress on the floor. Where other tent manufacturers say, that's garbage. You never roll a tent the same way twice. Well, either way, I don't know about that one. I tend to roll my tent up. Others say you stuff it in. Whereas critics of that idea say, don't do that because you'll crease fabric in other ways, and you can also poke any sharp bits like, you know, guy line adjusters and stuff, and anything that's, sometimes there's little pins on the end of the bottom tabs of the tent. Well, they say you can poke those through the, if you're stuffing carelessly, you can poke those through the side of the tent. Either way, I would say treat your tent with a lot of respect. And one thing I will say is something like this on a $300 or $400 tent, or even a, you know, even a cheap tent, as long as we're talking tents here, it can't hurt to get another one of these and do this with your tent. Keep the poles and pegs separate, and this allows it to dry more. You won't run into problems with the polyurethane. No sticky tent syndrome here. So I can say, you know, personally, it won't hurt putting your tent in one of these too, but definitely your sleeping bags. So this is going into the closet, and it's just going to hang like that. Don't use it for punching. Get another bag for that, made for that. You don't want to punch your sleeping bag. Okay, so this has been another video from Alberta Bushcrafter. I hope it's been helpful. I want to thank you very much for watching. My name's Dean. Take care, and good day.